Hey guys, MD Prepper here. Another gear review, this time on the Cold Steel Trench Hawk, which I would have to say is my favorite Tomahawk in the tactical black style with your synthetic handles and all that. Love this one. We're going to talk about the benefits and restrictions of it and all that here in a second. The sheath is extraordinarily different from every other type of sheath you've ever seen, so we'll talk about that here in a minute. Anyway, Cold Steel Trench Hawk. It is 19 inches overall. It has 8 3/4 width, is what I call it, on the blade head here. So, you know, almost 9 inches from tip to blade here. So that's big. That's very big for most of your tactical style hawks. The edge of the blade here is 3.5 inches overall. Obviously, this is curved and rounded. I'm going to show you that closer here in a second. It's made out of drop forged 1055 carbon steel, which a lot of your other ones are made out of stainless and all that. You know, whatever you think about it, I like carbon better than stainless, in my personal opinion, because I'm kind of obsessive about keeping my blades up. 24 ounces overall, so relatively heavy for a Tomahawk, but again, this thing's huge. This is a very large hawk that's going to get a lot done, so, you know, weight versus non-weight. It's going to be okay, I think. I think it's a good balance overall for weight versus what you get for it. Polypropylene grips with some texturing on it. We're going to show that here in a second. This thing retails for about, I believe, $38 to $40, maybe $45 on the upper end. Don't think I'd pay more than that for it, but I love everything I've ever owned from Cold Steel, so, you know, I'm a bit biased, but love this a lot. This one's had a little bit more use than my other Tomahawks. Had this a lot longer because I saw it and just had to have it. So let's start here at the top. Blade edge comes sharp. Maybe not razor sharp, but darn close. Could be sharpened up, you know, for such purposes. Could you use this part here for hammering? You could. I don't know if I would because I don't want to damage the attachment here because there's only two pieces. There's this rivet and this one. So you've only got 2 points versus your United Cutlery and all that has 3. So I don't know if I'd use this for hammering at all. The spike is very sharp. False edges on top and bottom there. They can be easily sharpened up if you wanted to. You know, personal preference there. So again, I typically personally prefer the curved edge here on the axe head compared to the straight one. Again, I don't intend to be using this for throwing and all that. Why throw away a good weapon or a good tool? Now, compared to the rest of your tactical Tomahawks, this has a tremendously longer handle on it, which I think is a great plus in my opinion. You're going to get bigger, wider swings, that type of stuff for woodcraft and all that. Is this compact? No. But again, it's an axe. You know, how compact does it need to be? If you want a little small trail axe, get one. That's fine. Little lanyard hole here on the back side. Again, as everyone knows, if you watch my vids, I love my lanyard holes, whether I use them or not. So, I just like the option. Let's see. This thing is not full tang, of course, like just about every other Tomahawk out there that I know of. Comes down to about here. You can see that there. Thrown in and secured by the washer and all of that. So, that's okay. They do sell replacement handles, but you're not going to be carrying a replacement handle out in the field. But this thing is fairly well textured. I think you might have seen that before on the first video. If you see that, that's decent. It's not the best if your hands are wet or sweaty, something like that. So you could obviously wrap this with paracord, wrap it with tennis racket grip, whatever you want to increase the stickiness of this. That's fine. Whatever the heck you want to do. So I think for general purpose, for an under $40 axe / Tomahawk, I think this is going to do all you need it to. I really do. This is big enough to swing and chop down a tree if you had to. It's going to take a lot of work with a Tomahawk, but I think it's sturdy enough to do the job. Have not felled any big trees with this one. Some small, itty bitty stuff. Inch, 2 inches, all that. Chops through that like a hot knife through butter, so that's fine. Love the big broad spike on the backside for defensive purposes. You can do a lot of damage with this bad boy. So anyway, I like this one. I like it a lot. I think this is, like I said before, my favorite Tomahawk. Let's compare it to the M48. M48 is smaller. There you go. Now, the M48 is probably overall the best in all-purpose. It's not the smallest. It's not the largest. For general purpose, you know, on the smaller, lighter side, I'd probably go for this one, in my opinion. Now, here's the Sog Fast Hawk, if I can get it out of the case here for you. It's smaller. So, there's your options. I've got bids on both these. You know, if I was going lightweight and not really worrying about the ability to chop any kind of decent wood, I might go for this one, the M48. Again, this is a good compromise. This is a decent balance overall. But if weight is not an issue and length is not an issue, I like this one better. I just do. Personal preference, okay? Somebody PM me tonight or message me about the Sog Fusion. I like this better. I like the angled axe head on this. Again, could I use the edge on this for pulling away somebody with a weapon, something like that, taking their arm and getting away from me, something like that? I could. And I like the spike on this a lot better. Like I said in that message in one of my vids. But I just think this is a better choice overall for the price. The sheath, if you will, the Secure Axe here, very different, very unique, but incredibly durable overall. I think I like it. Takes some getting used to. You know, not for everybody. Some of you are going to prefer that style cordura sheath or the one on the M48. That's fine. I think this one has a lot more options in my opinion. Now, this thing is obviously not soft. Segmented with one little loop there to secure the thing. Takes a little getting used to, like I said. What you need to do, if you're putting this thing back in, you got to put the spike in first, roll the top on, roll the front side on, roll around, snap it into place. Now, I like this a lot. I think it works well. You've got lots of lanyard hole here, you know, holes and all that, all the way around, if you can see that, for securing this to your pack or your belt or whatever you want to do. It's not as convenient as the little belt loop here on the back side of your standard little M48 and all that, your basic Tomahawks and all that. So, it's just different. It's going to take some getting used to. You got to learn how to draw this thing. So, basically, you take the snap off, you roll the top off, you roll the back off. There you go. You got to put it back on in similar fashion. So, it takes some getting used to. It's not bad, in my opinion. So, anyway, this is the Cold Steel Trench Hawk. My personal favorite of the tactical looking Tomahawks, just because of the length. You know, big broad head on it, big nasty spike. This is going to get the job done. I'm not going to throw this thing. You know, is this good for throwing? Yeah, probably not. Probably maybe a little too big compared to the other ones, but I'm not going to throw away a tool. I'm just not. I think it's a bad idea. One other thing I did not mention, you've got some finger grooves here that are part of the blade and part of the grips here. Show you up close, if you can see that there. So that's for choking up closer work, all that. I think that's a great option. Not necessary. You'd be okay with, say, this one up close, the M48. It's going to be okay. It's going to be a little more comfortable with this. A little broader, thicker handle on this one. So, my average size hands, I like this better. That's just personal preference. If I had to chop a big tree down, I'd rather do it with this one. So, anyway, whatever you think. My personal opinions on this one. Again, the Cold Steel Trench Hawk for about 38 to 40 bucks, not including shipping. Tremendous blade, like everything else from Cold Steel that I've ever owned. ND Prepper, out.